good night. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM and next Wednesday. You know, the place warm, rain don't know. Gone America, as the mother say, America without the A. Well, we have a little special program inside that tonight. Tonight is the last program for the year. There will never be a next Cutting Edge for the year 2022. We give thanks for all who stay with me over the years and give thanks for all who stay with me. This year, yeah, especially with that COVID thing, still a wonder one over our head. Give thanks for who stay in them body and out of them body. Yes, some people gone in the next people body too. Don't know what not doing a people body, but I saw its place and so it's set. Anyway, give thanks. As we say, we have the first we're going to do this, we have 5 ones except myself. 5 ones in the studio with me. And I must say, hail up to all the ones them who come to that birthday party that was instigated by my wife, Jackie Cohen, Elena Hope. I tell you, you never want more organization like that. Head cook and buckle washer. So I want you up Jackie, I want you up all the ones them who did rally around her to make the thing be so sweet. This sister I went at the studio with me. A long time we are trying to get her in the studio, you know, but she live a month to go behind and go like a foreign, she live still. She live at Japan too, but I go like a Japan, she live still. She live at Los Angeles and go like she still live at Los Angeles. She was one of them who really chip in and make the thing sweet. And we have a bridging, a long time we know him. Long time we know him. We're going to make him introduce himself still, but we're going to make everyone introduce himself. Because as me I say, the program going to be sweet because each of them have a story. Each of them specialize in something and each of them have something to say. And we're going to allow them to say it tonight. As well said, this is the Cutting Edge. You know, we start out the show with Joe Mensah. Now everybody must know by now. Joe Mensah at 31-year-old dead. You can't believe that, Rasta? We used to the brethren have a asthma problem and him a drive him car and go to the hospital and him crash. So maybe it's not even the asthma, get rid of him, it's a car crash. That is what we hear. It's a weird thing. 31-year-old Rasta, and you just start him life in a music. So, we're up here next one to him in tribute to the Marley family who knows you feel it now because from here the thing we have feel it, everybody have feel it. Man, Joe Mensah, gone, I tell you, 31-year-old. You know, them really, so much ones a move. So much ones a move. One do that is a weird thing at them time, yeah. Because you expect, say, is the parents them, is the children them would have buried the parents them, but no, it come like the parents have buried the children them. It's a terrible thing, even in Jamaica. Whole heap of youth. Anyway, we're there with you still. This is the Cutting Edge. Before we go to the break, we want each one in the studio identify themselves, starting from my friend who I know for centuries. You know, centuries. Tell them who you be.
Hi, good evening. My name is Yvonne Golson.
That's how you're going to say you're Yvonne Golson?
Yes, you said introduce myself. I live in Montego Bay now.
Via Japan, via LA.
Before coming here, I spent 20 years in Japan. And then I was in California for about 18, New York for about 10. And now I'm happy to be back home.
And she there Europe with France and Germany and all them places. Yes, okay. Next sister, which is a surprise to me when you hear which part she come from.
Hi, my name is Cora Jones, and I am from Portugal, African descent. My parents are Cape Verdean. And I've been coming to Jamaica for the last 5 years. My children study here. They study in Mobay. And I always heard that Jamaica has very good education, and I want my children to be part of it. So that's why I'm here.
Okay. Oh, them say they know, do I say, Virgin? Yeah, all right. Yes.
Hello, good evening. My name is Matt Staubel. I'm from Connecticut in the United States, and this is my first time experiencing Jamaica. I am here for Mutabaruka's birthday, and thank you for having me.
Abba Zero to the world.
No stranger to this program, yes.
At all. Thank you, Mutabaruka.
Yeah.
Blessed love Jamaica, this is Ras Vane coming in from Baltimore area, New York born. Give thanks.
So we have 5 ones, different files. Abba is the only one where the listeners they might know over the years. All right, we're going to go take a break. Okay, I saw this program and stay. We have to talk in between the break then. It's not the break them are coming between where we are saying is we are talking between the breaks. So it's really the break is the program, you know. But we just trespass on this program. I could talk to the first guest, Ivan. Ivan, we're going to talk to. Ivan, as you hear she say, she is from Jamaica, but she lives in Japan. How much years you live in Japan?
20 years.
20 years.
Short 2 months, 19 years.
I want the people them know say the other time if you go to Japan and you not go check Ivan, them go to deport you. Because she was almost like a consulate there, know everything we are going. All right. Why you reach Japan? Why a Jamaican lady go to Japan?
What actually happened was in 1990 I was involved in a terrible car accident, and I'm a legal secretary, and the damages resulted in me not being able to work. I couldn't type or move my arms a lot. So I decided to go to the local college and do some refreshers course. And I wanted to do subjects I had studied before, and French was one of them. And the morning I was going down to register, I stopped at a friend's house. It happened to be Tony Johnson, who did the Sunsplash store.
Original Sunsplash store, yeah.
And I was telling his wife, we used to walk in the mornings, and I was telling her that particular morning I was going to the local college to do this course in French. And Tony said, why don't you do Japanese? And I said, why? I don't have any business in Japan. You're the one who goes to Japan, so your wife should study. So we both went down to the college, and she was a little bit reluctant and asked me to join her. And I went to the class.
You didn't join her in Japan?
No, in the class, to enroll in the class.
That was in LA?
Yes, in LA. So I did French and Japanese. Yes, and the thing that attracted me to Japanese is that it sounds a lot like patois. As a matter of fact, there are a couple of patois words that is pronounced exactly as
like, for instance,
like baka. When we say look back at the door, look
behind the door, that? Are the same thing it means now?
No, it means idiot.
Baka in Japan means idiot?
Idiot in Japanese.
That means everybody that calls me idiot all right.
And it's funny, that particular word spurred me to write a Japanese patois dictionary, because I had Japanese friends that I met at the college and introduced them to reggae, so we'd go to shows together, and eventually I started inviting them to my home to eat. And one of them heard me, my son asked me a question, and I said, look back at the door, and when my son walked here, he says, Yvonne San, why are you speaking to your son like that? And I said, what do you mean? He says, you call him an idiot in front of us. And I didn't know the word at that time. And I said, really?
Yeah.
And then I started looking at the similarities in our pronunciation and the words that, like how we say ja.
Yeah.
When I used to go to class, ja is like a pause in Japanese. Like you'd say, oh, well. And the teacher would say, oh, ja. And in the back of the class, I'd be saying, Rastafari. And I was the oldest in the class. I was a grown woman in my late 40s, and all these young kids would burst out laughing, and the teacher never knew why. So I kind of had fun in the class. In any case, I started teaching those two people patois words, and I knew how to write. There's a style in Japanese that's called hiragana, that it doesn't involve the kanji signs like Chinese. It's a different style of writing, but with that style of writing, hiragana or katakana, you can write foreign language words in the way you want a Japanese person to pronounce them. It doesn't. It's not a word or anything. It's just strokes you put together that brings the sound. So I could write any patois word, and a Japanese could say it exactly as we do. Yes. And I started teaching them until over a period of time I had a couple thousand words, I think.
Yeah, this is interesting now. You stay at Los Angeles and learn that.
Yes, I learned Japanese in college. So I learned to write.
In LA?
Yes, in LA.
So that means, hey, people, you must hear what I say, if you hear a Japanese say baka, you must know, say that you have to take up a stone.
No.
Because it's close to you. So you could either say baka, and if they say baka, you say, oh, and that upon IRFM tell me, say, baka means so not cause. Anyway, so that is what carry you go to Japan.
Yes, but I compiled enough words that I thought I'd put together a dictionary.
Yeah.
So I wrote this dictionary both in Patois, English, and Japanese. And I wrote it in the 3 styles of Japanese. So the Japanese could read and understand what the word meant. And the way I wrote it, they could pronounce it exactly how we pronounce it in Patois. And then from the perspective that Jamaicans who knew Patois could also learn Japanese. That's the style in which I wrote it. You have one in your house, you know.
That's
you know
great,
that?
man. I never know, say, it's LA, you did do all of them things.
Yes, yeah.
All right.
So
you go to Japan, go live.
Right. I went there, as a matter of fact, with the Tony John, the Reggae Sunsplash group, because I didn't want to go by myself with this book, and Tony invited me anyway, and he before he left, he wanted to introduce me to a publisher, but there was one word in there which I won't say on the air that turned out, I can say it we use punani. There's a lot of those words in the song, and I translated in Japanese. And it turned out that it was a woman who read the draft, and she was very offended and said, we can't put that word.
All right, so in Japan, what that mean?
Punani?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
All right.
Oh, my God, yes, the word.
Okay, hold on.
Which is kind of a vulgar word. Yeah, that's there.
You serious?
Yes,
You see all language here?
Right.
The whole languages are...
Right.
Yeah.
So for us, punani is nothing, everybody says it, but for them, they're very...
It's a different thing, yeah.
Right.
All right, so... When will it come upon Sunsplash? Is the Sunsplash ready upon when me and...
I'm not sure if it's the one. No, maybe I was already living there. When you came, I was already living there. Yeah. But I'd gone as a visitor. Yeah. And I noticed that the Japanese really loved reggae. And walking down the street in little boutiques, you'd hear the reggae being played, but it was always the vulgar dancehall music. Yes. That's because they didn't know what was being said. Right. So it inspired me to go home and put this dictionary together. Yeah.
I remember when we were at Japan, I used to carry me go one dance in one club.
Yes.
I remember the club, see about 5 Japanese girls walking, and I said, wait. Them in a hot, what do you call it?
Hot pants.
Hot pants and the same thing when the dance hard, girl, you go away the rasta. And it's when the music start play. You don't think say a Jamaica you there?
Yes.
It's just that say, them couldn't be a Jamaica, a Japanese there.
Right.
Oh, you tell the difference between a Japanese and a Chinese. You can't, when you're down here, when you're there at Jamaica, or you tell the difference between a Japanese and a Chinese.
I don't always get it right. If I don't hear them speak, there's a different look, especially with the hair and the eyes. The Japanese tend to have like almond-shaped eyes. Yeah. And the Chinese are a little bit more...
The eye gone round the neck.
No, I just... There's certain things you can look at, but I don't always get it right. It's just like how sometimes you'll see an African, and they're not in African garb, but maybe just something about them. Sometimes it's maybe just the look on the face or something. You might say, I think that's an African.
It's very interesting, because I don't think Jamaican know the difference.
No, everybody's Mr.
Everybody are Chinese.
Right.
Yeah, everybody are Chinese to them. And I think the Japanese them vex about
They don't like it, because the Japanese and Chinese are not.
So what you find with Japanese where you find, say, 20 years ago, you must learn Japanese, so You never have no Japanese husband.
No.
That's an answer.
That's not my style.
Yeah. All right. What you find with the Japanese? Because I know so they make everything where they big get lickler. You know, electronics thing, that. What is it that Japanese do? Why them is so pronounced all over the world? I mean, like electronics. What is it that them?
I think if they're outside of Japan and people see how that they interact, like for instance, at the World Cup recently, and it happened before at a game, they talk about
believe that?
How they clean up. Yeah,
them clean up the whole stadium.
Right, they carry. I don't know if they did the whole stadium, but they at least do their area.
Which part of them? I can't believe it.
Yes, because in Japan people don't litter.
No,
you know, like even a piece of candy wrapper, you put it in your purse and take it home if you can't find somewhere to dispose of it. Yeah. So they're extremely clean.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, yeah.
No dirt upon it. No.
Right, and everything is polished, you know, and yeah.
You know, we take a train. I don't remember which part we take the train from Tokyo to another place. Named the Bullet.
The Bullet train, yeah.
It feel like it's an aeroplane, you know, man.
Right. The speed at which it goes.
And the seat them look like first class seat.
Yes, very comfortable and very high level.
You usually take that.
I love to. As a matter of fact, when I first went to Japan, I bought a monthly pass because as a visitor, you can take this pass that you pay a reasonable amount of money for, and you can travel as many times as you want from one point of the island to the other. And I used to love to go to Osaka.
Yeah.
So I would get up on a Sunday morning and use my pass to go to Osaka.
On the Bullet.
On the Bullet train and eat and come back in the evening. I'd go up north to Hokkaido. And,
Well, if a Bullet ever there, Jamaica, man, people that reach a buy have a fat.
From Kingston to Mobile, it will be like 5 minutes.
No, because remember when we select train go Mobile, you know?
Yes.
We have to cook food and have to drink and be a pudding and 8 hours, you know? 8 hours from Kingston to Mobile, you know? I tell you.
Yeah.
We never really realize that 20 years you're there still, you know?
19 years and 10 months. Yeah,
all right, so, all right, they are with you upon the cutting edge. We are talking to guests them here, and we are talking to Yvonne Golson, who, as we are say, live in Japan for 20 years. I never even know so long she lived there. All right, so why you come home?
I reached retirement age, and actually, my background is a legal secretary, so I worked with a law firm for 13 years.
Where?
In Tokyo. That was my job. Yeah. And I was the supervisor and I had like 35 secretaries that I supervised. And as technology was getting more advanced, I was the one who was required to write manuals and to teach them and all that. And it got to a point where I felt like I didn't want this kind of responsibility. So I retired early. I don't want to say my age, but
I don't know.
Right, well, at age 60.
Your age nice. Yes.
And one of the things that I used to do while I was working, whenever there were any food festivals in Japan, I'd promote Jamaican cuisine. So me and the Jamaicans that were there, we had a little organization called the Association of...
So you never start a restaurant up there one at a time?
Yeah, that was after, as a result of doing these food festivals. So when I decided to retire, I had enough money to open a restaurant. And one of the things that I didn't like, there were a few Japanese there who had what they call Jamaican restaurants, but all they cooked was jerk chicken. So everybody thought that was all we ate, jerk chicken. So I wanted to promote the expanse of our cuisine, So I retired at age 60 and opened a Jamaican restaurant in Harajuku. And very popular, hard work. And I ran it for 5 years. And it was tough because I didn't have the support that I needed. You know, like even I trained different people from Africans to other Japanese people, and I had one Jamaican chef, but he wasn't very dependable. He was a good cook, but not dependable. So a lot of the work was on me, and I'd been working already for 42 years as a secretary. and to suddenly stand for 10 to 12 hours.
You give away your age, you know. You give away your age.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So after having a sedentary job for 42 years, now I was standing for 10 to 12 hours a day in the restaurant. Right. So I at one point developed blood clots, and they couldn't find it. There was just some tests. I had pains in my leg, and some tests showed that I had a little clot somewhere. So they just kept me in the hospital for a week or two and gave me blood thinners and say, well, you can't be standing for so long. So anyway, 5 years into the restaurant, my uncle, one of my favorite uncles, got ill in Florida, and I always promised him that I would come and take care of him when I retired. And he kept saying, when are you coming? When are you coming? And I decided to get someone to manage the restaurant and go to spend time with him.
In Florida?
In Florida. And my plan was to spend 3 months and come back in 3 months. But the first 3 months was a disaster. And in terms of who was managing the restaurant. And then within that same time, my uncle passed, and it was such a shock. Because I didn't, the way he looked and, the fun we were having together, and I was, giving him herbs and cooking healthy food and so forth. And I was just so shocked that.
So what you do after you left Florida? You come back to Jamaica that time?
After I left Florida, I stayed there for a year, and then I went back to Japan to completely close down the restaurant because nobody. I wasn't able to sell it. People wanted to take it over and maybe pay later, and that.
So it's still there now? There?
No. I closed it down completely, and I took whatever equipment or I could home, kitchen equipment, and I wasn't planning to come to Jamaica. I wanted to live in Florida, but then the lizards, they scared me. I couldn't take the lizards.
More lizard inside us?
No. Don't say that. Don't say that, Muta. You know already how I feel about it. She's afraid
of lizard. Anyway, all right. So you're at Jamaica now.
So I went to Texas with my granddaughter, and I didn't like it there, and I went back to LA, where I'd lived for 18 years. But I couldn't afford to live there anymore.
Then how old is what? You're 40 years, so 20 years or something.
Old enough. Well, I'm a great-grandmother. I have 4 great-grandchildren.
So like a past 80.
Huh? Not quite. Not quite.
All right, so I could say. All right, so I could come to where you're at Jamaica.
So I came home to Jamaica to spend 3 months before going back to wherever I was going to choose, and I thought it was going to be LA because everyone was scaring me about living in Jamaica, especially coming from Japan, where it's so safe. You can go to sleep and leave your door unlocked and all that. And I came for 3 months and never left. I'm going into my 7th year.
So you're there at Jamaica now, and
6 years.
You occasionally go back to LA and come
I go
back
to LA at least twice a
year.
year.
Where you go to LA for?
Because I have children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. So that's where my family is.
All right, well, it's nice to have you home.
Yeah, I love being
here.
I'm very glad that I'm always at your home.
And I'm very glad that you live at Mobile. That's the time I do have no television stay that can come here yard.
Come, yes.
And last 2 o'clock in the morning because I can't find back where you live. That's nice. Anyway, give thanks.
Yes, thank you
for having me. And give thanks to come up here.
That wonderful birthday party.
Help Jackie and thing, and it was sweet to see you. I work with Jackie and, long time friend and thing. Yes. Anyway, give thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, this is the cutting edge. We just talk to Ivan Goldson. As a year, 20 years or so, 42 years or so, 18 years or so, 11. What kind of one is? No one that's an old one. I shall go like the youngest one. Okay. You seem to have been fun. All right. Your interview done, Ivan. Your interview done. So, we're going to go to a virgin where I tell you, say, all the while, years, him amongst you, and it's the first man who ever talked so much. First man who ever talked so make him introduce. As a matter of fact, he might promote show with me in Baltimore. Make him introduce himself. Yes, virgin.
Yeah, give thanks, Mother. Blessed Earth Strong, big up on the Earth Strong and the beautiful birthday party festivities. I give thanks for that. I open up the home to me and my early journeys to Jamaica, helped me fall in love with this place and helped give some good guidance in the cultural tradition. Jackie and you, friendship from those times till now has been very special to me. And yeah, it's been over 20 years since I brought you up to Baltimore to bless up the place, you know. Culturally, people still talking about the show, so hopefully
People still talk about the show with me, though?
Yeah, man.
Then about 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Then them people are not dead now?
No, sir.
Still them out?
Still them out.
Still them no long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just coming into Jamaica in 1999 for the first trip. It was a beautiful trip. It was also traumatic. One of my friends, Jamal Hakim, he was in a car accident and lost his life.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he did. And the island, it still had a very profound, it left a mark on me. It was something special happened at that time because I traveled to different countries, but it's something about Jamaica that brings me back often. It really feels like home even more than the States does a lot of time.
All right, make I ask you something. I remember you did have a plan with some, I don't know if it's prefabricated house to make out a sandbag. You remember that venture there?
Yeah, so far I've built 3 in Jamaica.
Explain to the people about the sandbag.
Yeah, the technique is called earth bag building. It's a rammed earth technique, so you take soil and you put it in a bag and ram it down. And it is bomb-proof, bulletproof, fireproof.
It's bomb-proof?
Flood-proof, termite-proof. Yeah, that's what they use in bunkers to build bunkers. Yes, they use sandbags, earth bags, dirt, or sand. And it has something called a thermal flywheel, so the hottest time of the day is coolest in the house. So when you're in a climate like this, you don't really need air conditioning.
I remember at Westmoreland you did have one.
Yeah.
Westmoreland with the covenant time.
We built 2 in Sheffield and 1 in Little Bay.
So why that venture there, the kind of fade out? Why? Because I think it was a great idea.
Yeah, it was a great idea. You have to live and learn, so I didn't build these on my own property, and that was done already. Yeah. So I was the first one. A friend, was interested in putting something on a property in Little Bay, and I was self-taught. I read some books and I studied online, and he gave me the opportunity to build something down there, and Little Bay land has some. So he wasn't able to actually complete that project, and then in Sheffield something similar, So
all right. So explain to me now, because obviously it's a cheaper way of building house.
Yeah.
And you say it's bomb-proof. It's not bomb now, really drop that such thing.
Yeah. Bulletproof. Fireproof. Termite-proof.
Yeah.
Rotten-proof.
Yeah. All right. So. You can build a 3-bedroom and all them something really 2-bedroom or just 1 room like an igloo.
No, you can build as many bedroom. It's just you can't build very high because the bags are very heavy.
Oh yes.
So it's 1 level. That project was inspired me to a point, and it is definitely less expensive than having block and steel. There are some environmental impacts, of using a lot of topsoil. It's very labor intensive, but it's still very good. Since then, though, I've been studying more about bamboo living, bamboo, because Jamaica's full of bamboo.
Yeah, but bamboo, no bomb-proof, and no fireproof,
None of that. But it is the most sustainable building material on the planet that I know
the
of.
Chinese, them know that.
Yeah, and in Bali, in China, in Thailand, there's certain countries that they use a lot of bamboo. It's very sustainable.
And it bend with the wind too. It don't break because wind not blow.
No.
Yeah.
And the thing I think in Jamaica why it's not as popular as it is in other countries that grow bamboo is that the treatment. There's a process to treating it so it doesn't mold, so the bugs don't eat it. And once you master that, then you have a very, very sustainable, good, beautiful.
I hear the government did say they must start promote the planting of more bamboo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the right species of bamboo, because I know it's most, not every species of bamboo would I take that rugged thing, you know. You have to know that from the Chinese, though. The Chinese is some people where. But I will put Chinaman there, I'm not can show them how to do it.
Jamaica has some very good bamboo, you know. Big bamboo, it's strong, it grows.
Yeah, big bamboo.
That builds a good house.
On the cutting edge, we are going through the places, we are talking to my brethren. We just reach a big bamboo business, that's what I laugh at. I don't want the video laugh, but I don't want them to, you know. I don't want to get the laugh, you know. All right. The bamboo versus the sandbag.
Mm-hmm.
You not go for the sandbag, you just go for the bamboo instead of the sandbag?
No, I like the idea of a blend, you know, like potentially a first floor with the earth bag, you know, keep it nice and cool and can go up with the bamboo.
With the bamboo?
Yeah, or I like the bamboo also for open air spaces, you know, yoga studios.
Yeah. So which part you that carry out that, like a little mock-up model plan? Like how you have a little model of the sun thing, you know, where we go down at Westmoreland there. Which part?
Yeah.
You see anywhere where you could have, not pan government land. Well, anywhere you put it, it no matter.
Yeah, I might have to do it at your yard.
My yard?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're not capture the land if you do it on my yard.
Yeah,
I don't know nothing. So you want to do it up here?
Yeah, I was looking around today, actually.
You don't look around my yard already? You don't want to try and capture my place, huh? You know easy.
Yeah.
You don't want to easy, Rasta. Nobody scout out the yard to put some bamboo. Well, we can't trust in the foreigner, you know. They come capture people, land. I don't know, move on away the park capture land. So, which part you still live in Baltimore?
Yes.
I want to treat Baltimore so virgin.
True.
Are the worst place me ever go in America, you know?
Yeah, Baltimore is rough, man. It has it's a lot of systemic situations, just like a lot of big cities. A lot of problems worldwide where, you know, the people just don't have what they need to flourish. And then when that happens, then you get substance abuse, you know, you get different types of crime and things coming in.
Yeah.
You know, it's on the rise, I would say. There's a little cultural movement as well as an arts movement.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people coming from Philly and DC and New York and stuff, you know, because the land end up getting cheap, you know, everything gets blighted and the people coming in starting to develop and everything. So looking for a better future for Baltimore, hopefully, you know.
Yeah, it's terrible if you say this. Well, say, damn it, America, I know when I reach a black area, them. At the dirtiest part, you see people stand up on the side of the road, I drink this and that. And you know, say, well, we're reaching at the black area now, you have to watch how you drive your car and hold your pocket and all them there, because them area there no easy. You see, when Flatbush, you have one side of Flatbush is black and cross over the other side of Pierre Jew over there. Right? And when you go over the Jewish part, it's not compared to where you go over Flatbush. I said, why have you look that way there? Why have Chicago are the same thing, east side, west side. You know,
same in Baltimore. They have a very ghetto area named Park Heights, and you get to one point, it's all Jewish at that point going further, you know. I don't know if you remember what you said to me about Baltimore when I first carried there.
No.
Yeah.
What you said?
You said Baltimore looked like it's Vietnam or it's been in a war or something, you know. So
you
much abandoned
buildings. I'm good at the same for sure.
Yeah, you said.
But it looked that way for sure.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And what are the house look like nobody living there, and you see two man walk come out of the house and you say, where people living there, so. Eh? Anyway, I realize you start to travel a lot now outside of America. We talk about Peru and all them places there.
Yes, sir.
Tell me what gravitates you towards Peru? Because it's not everybody that say, I come to Jamaica and then say they want to go to Peru. So we talk about Peru a while ago, I mentioned the things them that you gravitate. Explain to the people them what it is that.
Yes, sir. So about 11 years ago, I was, about 16 years ago, I was introduced to a plant, a master healing plant that comes from the Amazon named ayahuasca. And at that time, I wasn't, I didn't know anything about it, so I didn't really gravitate towards it. And about 11 years ago, I got a chance to experience a ceremony with this said plant. And the journey that the plant took me on was, to me, very healing. It really opened my eyes to certain things, certain ways that I was living that they could use improvement. And, you know, we had a ceremony with a shaman. And
you mean in Peru?
No, this is in the States, in the
Okay,
Catskills,
okay,
upstate.
okay.
This is before I reached the Amazon. You know, I just realized the intelligence of the plant life and the healing aspects, because everybody that came actually had a very good experience.
Yeah.
And then that led me to several other ceremonies between, you know, Virginia and New York, Pennsylvania. And then I just started to grow an interest, like a calling towards this plant to learn more. So I went to the source, which is Peru. There's a tribe there called the Shipibo tribe, and they're the first to discover this medicine. We went up into the Andes, you know, like Machu Picchu area, Intihuatana, up topside Cusco, and did some ceremonies there with different shamans from around the world. And then I came back to the States, and that really sparked more interest. So then I ended up going to the jungle, to a town called Pucallpa, a small city in the Amazon, and started to learn with the shamans there. And more recently to another town named Iquitos, and I started to personally study with a master shaman named Don Enrique Lopez, who's been carrying this medicine for lineage for generations and generations, you know.
So what you study with him? What you were studying?
So
you study about the plant, or you study about the spiritual connections where him a guy like a guru?
Yes, so there's a little bit of both. He's a teacher, he's also a shaman. And we study about the ayahuasca brew, which is it's the yahe vine, the ayahuasca vine with the chacruna leaf. They make a brew, and this brew is you drink about a shot-sized glass, and you have a journey, you know, like a vision quest. So, so we don't just learn about ayahuasca there. We learn about different purgatives. We learn about different herbal medicines. We learn about different plants, trees, flowers that exist in the Amazon. The Amazon is very potent land for healing. It has, 75% of the pharmacopoeia, all of the drugs on the planet that they come up with for any kind of ailments, they're sourced in the Amazon, the majority. So, and these ancient tribes, they've been working with these plants long before any of the modern medicines have come. So they know exactly how they work. What they're good for, which ones are dangerous, and which ones are also not just healing for the body, but also for the spirit and for the mind. Always,
look and realize, indigenous people always have plants and herbs where them use for healing and for guide them and them thing there, and then white people come in at the picture and make the thing get so weird that it become a drug. We see them do it with ganja too.
Yeah.
But it's that there, so all the while and white people come and come control the ganja them, and no, you can't even get no ganja again. $100 pound dollar for a pound of ganja. You say, but wait, which part we there? So it's like same thing with Peru. When we say the white people make me know say the Peruvian calendar was the authentic calendar of the ages, I don't know if you did hear about that. The Peruvian calendar. Them say, this is where the world is going to end now. That's about 4 or 5 years ago, I hear that, The world's still there, And we still there, pick and all them something there. And white people just spread the whole thing around the place like, why them love take over people things so? It's a weird thing. Anyway, white people go them take over the thing and go like say for them own. But I'm glad so they are going to the Peruvian mountains there. You say Amazon, I think Brazil, but you talk about Peru when you say Amazon, right?
Yeah, so we travel along the Amazon River.
You go Brazil?
Not yet.
Yeah, because when you say Amazon, I think Brazil all the while.
Yeah.
But I say, them do it long Australia. Them do it so with the ganja. And you find out the cocoa plant when you go to Colombia there. We go to Colombia a man give me a portion of the leaf them for carry cover Jamaica. We say we are talking about, man. You must carry the leaf them cover Jamaica. He say, yeah, man, just put it in your luggage, man. He say, it's all right. You better keep that up there, so. The man come on the show with no fight, you know.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I say, them have it away because them people they don't see it as dangerous.
Not at all. It's actually it's a very beautiful medicine, the coca plant. You know, it's been taken and it's been manipulated to where it becomes addictive to people. In Peru, it's totally legal. The old women they drink the tea. If you go to the supermarket, they have chewing gum, they have granola bars, they have
things.
You know, energy drinks. They have smoothie mix. You know,
Why people always come with the thing, make the thing look evil. You know, them turn it and twist it around, make the thing just start to get evil, and you start to say, what are them people? Them like Jesus. Them just turn Jesus into another thing and make the thing look away.
Just like the ganja until they find a way to control it.
Same thing.
Yeah, and then
they make the money and we gone down and go with it. That terrible thing. But I'm glad to see you still. I'm working with the monks from a longer time, and
yes, sir.
You stick with my wife, you don't stick with me. I don't understand that. Well, I will start watch you. Because I don't want to come here. If I have a wife, I still got to talk the whole time. You know. But at the first time I ever talk, so how long you come out? About 20 years.
Years, Bridget, more than, I think, 1999.
So long the man come out, me start. And at the first, I never sit down and talk, so, you know. I have to start wear my glasses more, you know, because so I go on there. Anyway, we give thanks, Bridget. And we give thanks for you really come on here, so and really sit through the birthday party and
yes, sir.
Spend a hand this one. We love that.
It's
so
an honor,
everyone realize and throw on in there, you know.
It is a blessing, man.
Yeah, man, we give thanks for that. Yes, Virginia, Baltimorean. Yes. Anyway, this is the Cutting Edge on IRFM. And we are telling you about different aspects of different ones. So, at the bridge today, I want to talk next year, you know. Believe you me. The AI bridge, where am I though? But put on the camera a little, man. I want to go beat your feet, you know. I want to talk to the bridge about the AI because a little while we are reason and the bridge come at the party as a cameraman. Which part of the man come from?
Yes, thank you for having me. I flew in from Hartford, Connecticut.
Hartford, Connecticut.
That's where I live, and I grew up there and started doing photo and video work when I was 13 years old and started doing it professionally at 14. And I've grown up with cameras and computers and had the privilege to be involved in technology since a young age.
All right. You know why I'm going to talk to you now, because I really want... I talk we talk a while ago before we come on the air, and we touch on the chips them and the AI thing, and we'll say, boy, a little more from this. Everything we have is obsolete. All them computers are going to be obsolete. iPhone. As a matter of fact, right now, iPhone seem to be going obsolete. You know, them have some things I know where I take over from iPhone, you know. So when I hear him utter certain sound, I say, wait, the Virgin knows something. So I really want to touch on where you know, as a cameraman, as a man who takes so much picture of my party and look like you're going to sell it, and you know like that. You know, see.
I'll give you a percentage.
You see it now? That not show you with white people, you know, that's like. I saw them stay, you know. And I have bring him there, you know, to come exploit me, you know. Hey, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Yes, me I tell you, it's weird when a youth like that all pass when at them time I'm life, you know. It's just weird. Enough people are lose them picnic, as me I say, one of the things say is the picnic them would have come bury the older heads, but it come like the thing reverse in this modern time, you know. It's the old people, them are bury the young people, them. And we find that in every aspect of life right now, you know, with the whole heap of poison go on and, you know, accidents on the road and, you know, the killing, gun crime and them something there. It's granny all a bury all them grand picnic. Can you imagine that? It wasn't supposed to be that way, but this is how it is. So it go. Who going to stop it? Who going to stop it? Because the more you talk about it, it seems like the more it gets up there, in your face, brazen in your face too. This is the Cutting Edge and RFM. I want to tell you that we're going to come back here at 2 o'clock. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock p.m. with the stepping razor, the art of war. We give thanks again for the people them who stay with you. And I realize, I will for the people them who come at the party, I never know them. It look like the people them who we invite that go at the airport to pick up somebody and decide, says, them just say, make them come with somebody, come at the party. Because I see some people that come from all different strange parts of the earth where me even never go yet. Them go for them and bring them and I introduce them. This is one. It's on Russia, I never hear somebody come from. On Russia, believe you me. I mean, I look for Putin too, Yes, we're there with you. I go through the things and times. All right, so when I talk to this bridge, we're saying come for the party to do some camera work. I guess his Abba invite him to come do it, and we feel good to do it still, because at least we have the footage them there as posterity for another time. But him say, come again, Bridget. Introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Matt Staubel.
Matt what?
My name is Matt Staubel. I'm a photographer, videographer, producer from...
Oh, sorry. I never turned up the mic. Go on.
Yes, my name is Matt Staubel. I'm a media producer, photographer, videographer from Connecticut. I grew up in New England.
All right. So what your camera work is your profession?
Yes. Since age 14, it's been my profession. I started on film and hit the timing right. So when I was in high school, everything transitions into digital. And so that's why my expertise kind of transcends just cameras, and it's also with computers.
From which movie you do camera work, Pablo? I can identify. Tell me.
No particular movie. I mostly do commercial work and documentary work.
Okay.
And I don't really promote my name up front like
no
that.
Hollywood movie.
No Hollywood movie, no.
Okay. All right. A while ago, we was having a half-year reason before the program. Yeah. And we'll mention about somebody sent me a poem of mine. And it's a robot that read my poem. And I can't believe it, because usually you'd read the poem. But my brother to tell me about apps where the computer, instead of you read something, the computer, you have this app so you can press the button and something read it for you. You know what the apps are, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's one of them apps. I realize it's one of them apps that you use, but this is where the intelligence reach now. Then now, it's two things that I mentioned. One, them have some incubators now where breed children. That means that the woman don't have to carry the fetus in her again.
Yes.
Them have it in a machine, and them get all the nutrients we need, and all the things them when it's through the umbilical cord. And the woman can say her baby dead, so and she can go on about her business. And then this is her baby. It sounds frightening and scary, but at this way it go. Then you have the next situation now where it's most unbelievable that, well, man like him no want to sleep with a woman again, him have him robot. Why a man don't want to sleep with a robot? It's kind of weird. But then it's not weird to certain people, because what them call transgender thing is what's happening now. You know, man going in a bathroom where a woman supposed to be, and 50-year-old man I say I'm 14 and he want a 13-year-old girl. That's a pedophile right away. If a 50-year-old man I tell you say him is 13 and he might live out a 13-year-old life and he want a 14-year-old girl, you can't carry him go to jail again for people. I'm going to say, yeah, stamp up on him privacy, him right to choose whatsoever. So it kind of get mixed up, but then that is where it go, and we have to really say it go in some serious artificial intelligence. And you say explain to me about this thing when Miller mentioned about the incubators, them.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, so that's the most important topic, bridging the gap between computers and information technology. So that's what's going to happen is AI is going to affect biology, and our biology is going to become a form of information technology that can be manipulated. And so it's hard to picture how we can control our biology without putting wires and creating like a computer inside of us. But what's going to happen is it's genetic engineering. And so it's just like how we've genetically engineered the food. We can do that to our own DNA. The only thing that's been stopping us is the complexity and advancement of the artificial intelligence, where it's at now, and it's growing exponentially. And so some people wonder why it's so important for these large companies to be collecting our information. We know it doesn't feel good, but we wonder, oh, I don't really care if they know this or that. I'm not doing anything wrong. So I don't really care if they're collecting my information or not. But what's going to happen is when you have enough information on enough people, so picture they have all the movements and decisions and buying patterns of everyone collected over time, and you cross-reference that between billions of people and their DNA, you're going to be able to find out exactly which DNA you can move around to make people taller, shorter, faster, smarter, stronger, weaker, and that's going to be an option that we're going to have to deal with. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that this is being done to us by some shadow party, and it's they, and it's and we don't have control over it. And I don't believe we have control over the inevitable advancement. It's happening, but I do believe that this is a really important time, and the genetic engineering of humans is going to be the biggest thing in my lifetime that we see. And I do believe it's up to us to talk about it. And you know, I don't know if it's necessarily government policy. We don't see that always working, but it's about humans coming together and educating each other and deciding what we want this to look like in the future. Because just like right now, in vitro fertilization, in vitro is, you know, in-dish fertilization in a lab where they take the sperm and the egg and you then inseminate the woman. Now you can choose, you know, which embryos are strongest. So you're actually choosing, instead of just going with the embryo that got inseminated naturally by the sperm, you can look at all the embryos, choose the strongest ones, the ones that are least likely to have disease, and then this is going to be driven by competition. And obviously the first people who have access to this are going to be wealthy people, and then the gap will continue to spread. And in the future, what you're talking about with babies actually being born in the womb, in the lab, that is the next step. Just like right now, how there's a percentage of a chance that a woman or the baby will die at birth, once it becomes technically more efficient and safer to grow the baby in a lab, and then there will be a position of calling the woman or parents irresponsible for even wanting to do the natural birth, and that's how we will be pushed in that direction.
All right, make I say something, because the incubator we are talking about, where them have, where them claim say it is made specifically for countries who the population is not going up, like Japan. Them say the population go up enough, because what happen now is that older people live longer, so the workforce can't sustain older people, so they have to have younger people now to develop it. And even in France and certain countries in Europe, where them actually have paid people to have children, and them say that is where them are created for. But we know these people because them will wipe out certain people who them say is useless eaters for really develop them idea of a new breed of people. As you say, if it's stronger, if it, you know, look like them more, where them not have to spend certain money upon you if you do certain things, them just get rid of your embryo and then just deal with the stronger one. And sometimes the stronger one is what them claim is the stronger one, not necessarily. You know, we know them things they go in at the race war and the race fight, you know them way there. White people always dominate the thing, and black people seem to be the problem all the while. So it's really white people that make the thing them, you know, when we look on it. And them recruit certain little black people in it still, but it's really white people that create them things there in the earth. So we know, who knows that them are do, have to really figure it out. Because we can't just dance and sing, and continue to dance and sing, and make these guys come manipulate our life away. You know, see, and that is really what we are saying. We understand what them are doing, you know, but are we going to do something with what them doing? Because when it's wild down, it's survival of the fittest. And we see that the movie, you know, a long time the movie has shown these things, you know. And we are saying fiction. It's not no fiction again. Cell phone, it didn't last in space. Remember last in space? We used to come on TV. Is it by them time there? You don't know about cell phone. With Chandler. Them used to have a TV show named Last in Space. It's a black and white movie on TV. Last in Space. Where the man them took out them cell phone and that like you talk about like 50 years ago. And now 50 years after now we see cell phone. And now cell phone is becoming obsolete. People must have wondered what Muta talk about, but don't you know the cell phone have come obsolete? Them are going to tell you what something name where them have to take over.
Yes, the cell phone will be built inside of us, you know.
Yeah, they have put cell phone now, so yes.
First a small microchip, and you're like, oh, how would you control it? We're going to be able to control it with our thoughts, and just like you turn your head and you pay attention when you're listening or looking at something, you'll be able to do
because
do all those
look at what the youth them have now. The youth them is some little low thing I go on with the youth them where scammer them. The youth them have equipments where them can put it by you and them can track your movement. That means them follow you. Them see say you live that way there and them follow you and them say, all right, that's what you live, all right. And them know when you're not there in your yard. Because them will look on for them things and see the tracking upon you and know, say, all right, them left them yard, you know, we can't go broke them house.
Yeah, who you're with, how long you talk to them,
yes, yes.
Are, how long you look at.
Which part I didn't make the phone call from, because even my phone, when we look, I see when people are called, I know exactly where them are called from. You know, which parish them did they call me, even if them have a Kingston number.
And this is still, that topic is still the hardware, and maybe the hardware will get small enough to get inside of us, but it's still a little different than this genetic engineering of humans, which is the manipulation of DNA. It's still going to take hardware to make that science happen, but this is the end of natural selection, and I do think it's because humans want to move forward, get better, get stronger. It's pushed by competition. That's why some people in the world might take advantage of these things more because they have that spirit to compete or dominate or whatever that is. I don't think it's just, like I said, one shadow group with a human eugenics vision that always can be a part of it, but this is really everyone. It starts with safety. Everyone wants their children to be healthy, less disease, be smarter and stronger, and people are going to use this for their advantage.
That is what them are do. Them are said the disease them go and make you immune to disease. See, I don't know if you hear about Elon. Everybody know about Elon Musk. Elon Musk said by 2024, where we're not 2023, because 2023, he's going to have chips we can put in your brains to rectify certain disease.
Neuralink, yeah.
What do you call it?
Neuralink.
Yeah.
That's Elon's company, and yeah, that's where I kind of get this from, with the starting with safety, because they're getting their investments from, we're putting in this chip into your skull, and it can send electrical signals and prevent things like Parkinson's, like brain stuff.
Alzheimer's and all them.
But it's the same technology that then they're going to take and be able to increase IQ and things like that.
You see, the problem is, we have a problem now. How we fight against that? 'Cause if a man make something we can make your elder people them don't get Alzheimer's and don't have no brain damage, it would be a better thing. But then you wonder about if you want it really, because, you know, it's like you're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. Because you really don't want to see your elders them I walk up and down the road and don't know where them are doing and can't say certain things. And if them a make something can prevent that and prevent you from not having certain faculties, you know. You just see it as a good thing. But knowing for them devious ways and things, you wonder, say, maybe people should just go and have Alzheimer's and go and sick and them things. And, you know, when you go, you go. And when you stay. But it kind of, you know, I don't know how fake that. Oh, you see my brother that youth out there, so you're the youngest one around there. You're the youngest one around there. Tell me how you see it. I attack. How you see it.
During certain times, they bred the biggest and the strongest, and that was a foolish mistake, you know. If we had only big and strong, Haile Selassie wouldn't have come forward, you know.
Yeah, but so, what I say, would you prefer to see, suppose you know, say your parents are going to have Alzheimer's, and you have something can prevent them Alzheimer's.
Yes.
Like the chip where Elon Musk talk about.
Yes.
Well, you'd agree to put it in our head to make to prevent it?
So me personally,
yeah, you personally matter.
I'm a naturalist.
No, me ask you if you'd ask them, say, don't make sure have Alzheimer's, put it in our head that it can don't make sure have Alzheimer's.
Yeah, I personally don't think so at this
you
time.
You don't do it. You don't make sure go have Alzheimer's.
I'm not challenged with that.
So you don't go and make sure have the Alzheimer's then?
Well, I don't have to make that decision at this moment.
No, Bridget, it's a hypothetical question.
Yeah.
Man. Suppose you have the decision for your elder grandmother forget herself totally, forget you, and for have her I remember you like a normal person.
Yeah. I think in the moment I probably would go for it.
Well, at the moment we are talking about, I know, you not have it, so at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's very difficult for you to make a decision if you don't see it happen. But I don't know who the one say, make sure I have the Alzheimer's, brethren. You know, see it. And they say them catch way. And they say them catch way, you know. Because them know them are play for emotions, they so know, and I say, no, sir, I don't want to see my grandmother or my mother I walk up and down the place and I don't know who me is. Done at, oh, you know, who this? And I say, it's Barry. And you're Sharon. You know the way it's like, it's just weird. If Barry becomes Sharon all of a sudden, and you know, say, you and I used to play up to the down, and then your children, them know who have certain disease, can't function. You know, them have a sort of this, and them are going to prevent that from happening. And nobody tell me, say, them can't prevent it. Them can't prevent it. Because we see them prevent things from happening. You know, see it? And them create things and make it happen when it's not supposed to happen. So, it's a weird thing. So, Brett, man, come up on the camera, Rasta. Maybe talk to you, just that why you're a younger voice.
It's my job. The more footage I get of you, the more money.
No, job is all right. I know. They're on the way, man. The man is a problem child, you know, Bridget. The Bridget is a problem child, that's that.
All right. All I know.
So we are talking about the idea of Elon Musk and him thing.
Yes.
Oh, you see man I go Mars go live.
Say again?
Oh, you see man I go Mars go live. Because they might try to run from the earth, they might mash up the earth to go to Mars go live. But we know, say, we are black people now get to go there. You good to get to go there, but we now get to go. Oh, you think that should happen?
I don't have an interest in it, but I think he's just looking really far into the future. You know, I just value...
They want to colonize outer space.
It's not something I have interest in, but I do believe he's going to be successful in that, or the next person will be. I don't think it's far-fetched.
Yeah, but you see that thing where, all right, if you had a chance of doing something to sustain Earth and make Earth be more livable for human beings,
yes,
and to go to Mars where you can have space, come on, can't really live on Mars, you know. All the year them are going, you know. Not like Earth.
No, the identical technology we're advancing for all these things, not just the money we're spending on it, but the exact technology itself with this AI can completely be used for good, for positive, for regenerating the earth. You can cross-reference all of the information on the internet, give the question you have, and then you find a new piece of information, you cross-reference again, and it will build. So AI computing is just massive amounts of information being able to process quicker than the brain. Our intelligence is not going to be replaced because human intelligence is much more complex than just information processing, but our ability for information processing has already been surpassed in certain ways by computers. Our ability to just scan through
Definitely,
massive amounts of
yeah.
information and cross-reference it with massive amounts of information instantly, and always have that available.
And AIs don't complain about work.
No.
You can't have an AI worker so clean the house, wash the clothes, this and that, and them no want a break, them no want a lunchtime, and them don't even know how much money I give them.
But with that, talking about physical limitation of the human body, there's also a physical limitation of hardware. All of this does take
Yes.
hardware. So I'm curious, Muta, what you think about just technology with the natural resources, particularly these discussions around cobalt, batteries, the sustainability, the labor that goes into this. I was curious your thoughts on where we're going with this, with hardware.
Well, I can't make it like the cell phone, because from I get a cell phone, them not change the battery up to now.
Yeah.
So it's not like them couldn't make a battery where it's ever ready. It's always ready, and put it in the AI and make the battery function. All right, cut the land. You don't cut the land. All right, it's that tree, they want to limb the tree. All right, clean the house. You just clean the house, clean it again. Then when you go cook the dinner, them thing there. AI never complain. And it's not them I don't know, because you go in a certain supermarket. They're them in England are going to a supermarket.
I think one particular...
And no cashier, no, they're there.
One particular area in the hardware that we're facing right now that's the most difficult is the use of cobalt in batteries.
Yes.
We're getting majority of our cobalt just from the Congo alone.
Terrible.
And there's no such thing as clean cobalt. It's all unsustainable and toxifying the center of the continent of Africa there in the Congo.
And children are used children for reap it too.
100%. So we have to look into other solutions. If not cobalt, are we just going to find another toxic material to exploit? But it's a massive problem. We need technology. We love technology. We're using technology for good, and we have such a detachment when we have that phone in our hands or driving the electric vehicle that takes 1,000 times the cobalt per battery in the electric vehicle as the phone. And so it's something we really have to look into, continue to educate ourselves on, and make good decisions in the future.
So where's human beings in all of this now? I mean, after them do all of that and do all of that, the people them who create these machines and things, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Because the machine, you ever see the movie named Planet of the Apes?
Yes.
You see the movie there with Charlton Heston, where him come in a place and him say, apes is like human beings. And the human beings that treat the apes them treat the human beings like apes. And it's not half of the earth him then. It's the earth, you know him know says the earth. You don't know him know says the earth him there on sale. It's going to go up on the beach and say the Statue of Liberty and push out of the sun. Because him thinks he would find a different planet, And in the last part of the movie, them show you say, but him never leave the planet because the Statue of Liberty is sinking at the sun. But the ape them was riding horse and feeding them children and it's an ape help them to get where. You think it's going to reach us up?
Yes. This week you turn 70. When I turn 70, I believe the whole world will be covered in humans of all different sizes and shapes and intelligent levels, and I have no idea what that's going to look like.
Maybe them have no flesh.
If we're going to reach a more stable point or it's going to be even more conflict.
Yes.
I hope for the best, but I really believe it's the biggest change I'll see in my lifetime, even bigger than you seeing the internet come to fruition.
The internet going to be obsolete.
No, the internet is just the electronic communication system. So.
No, that's the internet. I mean, as we know it now.
As we know it now?
Yeah.
I totally think it could, and I also believe we had technology more advanced than the internet. It just looked differently. I do believe we were able to communicate with people across the planet instantly before through other methods, and I do believe our creation of this technology is particularly actually infringing on our ability to get back to that point. So there's probably some things about this man-made wire internet that is better in some ways, or does things that we couldn't do before. But I do believe we're getting further.
You remember start to use our AI, You remember start believe to use our AI, Me I look at him, I wonder if he's an AI. I wonder if he's an AI, Because I say, the AI, it start look like an AI. I wonder if it's true. You give me some of that something there. You never give it on. You never give it on. I'm starting to think, I look at it, what is that? Hey, I'm talking. No, anyway, it's a serious thing, though. It's a serious thing. So what the flowers and birds and trees and all this, all that fit into the new
I
Earth?
truly believe our this industrial revolution is just we wanted more and more and more. That human nature of continuing to want more and greed, that could continue, but we really do have the ability to use this AI technology to make everything more efficient. I'm enjoying driving right now because I'm not when I have kids someday, 10 years from now, it's going to be illegal for a human to drive. It's going to be 1,000 times safer to have the self-driving cars.
Self-driving cars, yeah.
So, and I do believe the Earth it could be greener. It could be, because right now it's just a web of asphalt. And
concrete and steel.
Everyone has their own vehicle that emits emissions. So, I do believe we still have the opportunity to go into a direction of, more sustainable, regenerative world.
This is, we want to talk to the sister here now. You're going to introduce yourself again, and then now we're going to talk. Okay, so introduce yourself again.
Hi, my name is Ora Jones. I'm from Portugal. I born in Portugal.
You was born in?
Portugal, Lisbon.
Okay.
And I have been coming to Jamaica for the last, 19 years. The
19?
The first time I came to Jamaica was 19 years ago, just to visit. And I fell in love. And then I came back about 6 years ago. So my children have been studying here for 5 years, over 5 years.
So what kind of work you do?
I work in design and interiors and fashion. And
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
You and Jackie can get on quite good, man.
Of course, we've been talking all afternoon. I've seen some of our collection, which is really, really good. So, yeah.
So that is what you do in Portugal?
No. I actually have been working in England and in Bermuda. I used to live in Bermuda in healthcare. I work private with clients who suffer from.
So you jump from fashion design to healthcare?
I actually been working in care for the last 15 years in England, and then I started to do in Bermuda privately, and then and I took an interior design course in England and home furnishings and upholstery and everything, and then when I moved to Bermuda, I was introduced to fashion. I did a few fashion shows in Bermuda, and that's how I started. Yeah.
All right. The people them can't see you, but I have to describe where I go on in the studio now.
Okay.
He's as black as night.
That's black?
You say you come from Portugal.
Yes.
The Portuguese was one of the first set of people them who enslaved African people.
True.
When Columbus go there and boat them from Genoa, them travel as a sailor upon the boat them Portugal. And a whole heap of them carry the African them cross the Sahara Desert. Whole heap of Africa never reach on here, so. The people say it's only the transatlantic slave, but you have the Sahara Atlantic, Sahara Atlantic. The Sahara Desert where them carry the African them go through. And the Portuguese, how the hell a woman who black as night come in front of me and say she's Portuguese? Explain that to me.
Okay. My family is all African.
Yeah.
We have some mix with Europeans, but my parents immigrated to Portugal in the 70s. So I born in Portugal, but we are 8 siblings. So only 2 of 8 born in Portugal, and the rest born in Cape Verde Islands. But one of my sisters, she moved to Portugal when she was a baby.
So where your parents come from? Which African country?
Cape Verde Islands. When Cape Verde became independent from Portugal,
Where?
a lot of Cape Verde.
Oh, Cape Verde. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when Cape Verde became independent in 1975, a lot of the Cape Verdeans moved to Portugal to work because they left the country in a mess.
Yeah.
So, and we all mix In Cape Verde, we all mix from the rest of Africa because Cape Verde was a port for slavery. They bring the Cape Verdeans, they bring the Africans from different parts of Africa.
Yes.
And they bring them to Cape Verde, and then they sell them to the rest of the world, like America, South America, West Indies.
And
So
Brazil
we
was
all
one of
mix.
them favorite places.
Yes.
The Portuguese, Brazil was one of them favorite places.
True. So Brazil and Cape Verde, they have a huge relationship. There's a lot of Brazilians in Cape Verde Islands. And we actually, Cape Verde has direct flight to Brazil.
Yeah.
So there is a huge relationship. And our culture is almost the same, with the exception we speak Creole and Portuguese. And even our dialect is more similar to the Brazilian Portuguese than the Portuguese from Portugal.
When you talk in Portuguese, people think so you come from Brazil.
No, it's totally different.
The Creole different.
Yes, it's like English from the States and English from England.
Yeah,
So the Brazilian, they speak more beautiful with the melody. And the Portuguese, we speak more like...
It's like how the Asian them talk French, but the Guadeloupe who talk French don't understand what they must say.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Portugal. The history of Portugal. I don't know what kind of history you grew up in a history, but what is the history of Portugal that you know of as a woman born in Portugal? I don't want to say it's
What do
Portuguese.
you mean, history of Portugal? I mean, my history or the history?
No, Portugal, because you say you're born in Portugal. And I call you Portuguese, but I just say...
I would say I'm more like an African Portuguese.
Yeah, so what is the history that you know about as a black woman who...
You see, I grew up at school. They don't talk much about the history, the slavery history. We know how we got to Portugal, but they don't. It's kind of a taboo. Now they talk about it, but when I was a child, you wouldn't hear about anything to do with the Portugal bringing the Africans, or we migrated to Portugal. We didn't.
Yeah, but what you hear, just tell me, what you hear about Portugal, being a person who born in Portugal, what is it? Like I hear about English history, I hear about Jack and Jill run up the hill, I hear about Queen rule, Britannia rule, British will never be slaves again and all these things. And that them was the Portuguese and, this is weird, the Portuguese and the French and the Dutch was the main players in slavery.
True.
That is where we come find out now. But I guess when you're in a British colony, most of your things them is about Queen Elizabeth I. Most of it come here about Queen Elizabeth I.
I'm terrible at history.
Yeah.
I'm awful. Yes, I'm
so that's why I'm asking, what is the Portuguese issue that you know that is not about African thing, but Portugal itself?
Portugal itself.
Yeah,
okay.
What makes Portugal so dominant in a world history?
I mean, the Portuguese were very good sailors. I mean, they discovered beyond Africa. They were in Asia. They were. There is a book I forgot that I think is 77. I don't remember, but they were in China. They were in all those places, but they didn't conquer that area. So they went beyond Africa. Why did they went to Africa? Because it's the closest to Portugal and to Spain. So for them, it was really close to go there. But they were very good conquistadores, the Portuguese and the Spanish.
Definitely,
they were the best sailors, but they were ruthless. They were very ruthless, and they were very...
I think that is how Columbus find himself there. Because being a man who was interested in sailing, he was part of that voyage that got into the slave trade with the Portuguese them, and then him end up in Spain too. As you say, a whole heap of Portuguese end up in Spain. But most Africans outside Africa live in Brazil.
Yes.
Brazil is...
I've been to Brazil. I've been to Bahia.
Bahia. Oh, gosh, man.
Salvador.
I loved it.
Yes, I loved it.
Yeah,
It was like
Bahia,
being in
sweet.
Africa.
Yeah, Bahia.
A lot of history, of course.
Yeah.
And the thing, when you go to Brazil or other ex-Portuguese colonies, you see the Portuguese history there. You see the architecture. It's all Portuguese. If you go to Brazil, of course, to Angola, to Santo Tomé and Prince, to Guinea-Bissau, to Cape Verde Islands, they have the same. They kept the architecture. They kept the colonial buildings, which it kind of brings a beauty to the country, but it also brings a lot of pain.
Memories.
It brings a lot of, because even when slavery stopped, they continue.
Well, most of the colonies, them, it did happen. Like,
I think there is a little bit of a difference between, like the Portuguese were very rough, but at the same time they were kind of the first to give a name. If they would have children with a slave, they would actually give them responsibilities, and they will set them free, and they were the first ones to accept, we call it mestizo, the mestizo children with a black woman, and give them, I don't know how to say in English, and compare it to a lot of the Spanish, the Dutch. They recognize, and they were the first one to marry the black slaves after, and make them they equal, because you would see a lot of the. If you would go to Cape Verde or even Portugal, a lot of them, even through the slavery, they were. I think they gave them a little bit of more of a status, even knowing. I'm not finding excuses for that.
No. We're not.
I grow up with a lot of racism.
I just want to give me the history of Portugal. So
yes,
you can't tell me the history without being
exactly. So they kind of started slavery, and yes, they were very ruthless. But towards the end of slavery, before the end of slavery, they were already starting to give land to the children they had with the slave women.
Oh, yeah?
And they were starting to marry the women and give them land and give them a status and give them, to make them comfortable. So in comparison to the French, in comparison to the Spanish and the British, they became a little bit more, maybe because they started, I don't know, and they become a little bit more humble to it.
Yeah, what I ask you now, was it that all your parents, all right, only if I was from Jamaica, run go to England, because we see England as the motherland, so-called. Was it the same with your family going to Portugal, because they seen that Portugal was the motherland?
Yes, because that's all they knew.
Yeah,
that's all Portugal owned Cape Verde for hundreds of years, and we speak their language. I mean, we have Creole, which is a broken Portuguese and African. But then that's all they knew. So all the opportunities was in Portugal. They speak the language. They didn't speak English. A lot of them, they didn't have the education. And other European countries was not as open to them as Portugal. So, and I think in those days, you didn't even need a passport. You could just go.
Like England. We used to just go to England.
Yes, you could just need a pass and go.
British subjects from the country.
And in that time, a lot of the Cape Verdeans and from other Portuguese colonies, they would go to study in Portugal. They would go to get an education, because not everybody could have an education. So we have a lot of. We're always going to have history with Portugal. Even today, we have. I think Portugal is one of the strongest ties with. Whether it's Angola,
Mozambique,
Guinea, Santo Tomé.
So you reach Bermuda? Why you
how do I reach it?
Because Portugal, Bermuda, that so like.
But let me tell you something. 25% of the population in Bermuda is Portuguese.
Oh yeah?
It's from Portuguese, from the islands.
I'm going to Bermuda. I never know that.
I didn't know that. I ended up in Bermuda.
I never know that.
I didn't know that till I went to Bermuda. I needed a change. And so I applied for a lot of jobs because I needed to go away. I wanted to experience other countries at least for a year. So I sent my CV to a lot of countries outside of Europe, and Bermuda was one of them.
Yeah.
And I got an interview, and it was to work in a restaurant in Bermuda.
So you just end up in a Bermuda or in a restaurant? How that work? You just end up in a Bermuda working in a restaurant?
Yes, I did, but the owner of the restaurant came to England to interview me. And he interviewed me, but he didn't tell me anything. There was a lot of Portuguese in the island, basically white Portuguese. from the Azores.
So you could relate to them because you talk Portuguese, you relate to them.
I did, but I didn't know. I didn't know anything about Bermuda. So I ended up in Bermuda. So after I was in Bermuda, then I found out that it was a lot of Azorean people lived there, and a lot of them went to the bar, went to the restaurant.
Yes.
And so in Bermuda, in those days, was a little bit of thing between the black Bermudians and the white Portuguese, because the white Portuguese have been in Bermuda for a long, long time, because they went to replace the work that the Bermudians didn't want to do. They brought the Portuguese from the Azores.
That's a far place to bring them from.
But they treated the Azoreans like they didn't treat them as whites. They treat them like the blacks.
Oh, yeah?
So they went to school with the black Bermudians.
Okay.
They live around the black Bermudians because the white English didn't see them as white. So now it's different. There is a little bit, now you see more mixture, but also the Portuguese didn't like so much being around the black because, it was really messy. So the Portuguese find that they were above the black, and then the English find they were above the Portuguese.
Portuguese. What's a terrible thing. Classism and racism. All right, so I could ask you now. You went into fashion design before you go to Bermuda, or you go Bermuda and then
No, in Bermuda, because when I went to Bermuda, I was into interiors. I was working. I went to Bermuda. I went to Bermuda for 1 year, basically. It was
you
just.
sound like Ivan. You sound like Ivan.
This is what happened. I used to live in Sweden, and.
Really? Wait.
Living in Sweden.
Rewind.
Okay.
Where you live and go Sweden?
I was in a relationship with someone in Sweden, so I was living in Sweden for.
So where you live and go to Sweden? Where you was when you go to Sweden?
I was studying and living in London for a few years.
No, woman has a map. She's all right. Wait. You're born in Portugal.
Yes, I born in Lisbon.
After you left Portugal, which part you go?
When I was 19, I went to London studying.
You go to London?
Yes.
And then after London, where you go?
I went to Sweden.
And then after Sweden, where you go?
I came back to London for a few months.
And then you go Bermuda?
And then I went to Bermuda.
And then you reach Jamaica, you know? I have something between that
No,
too.
after Bermuda, I was in the States for a short
You go America?
Yes.
She better than you, Ivan. Ivan, she better than you, man. I tell you. She better than you, Rata. All right.
So yeah.
So you go to the States and then where you go after?
My son born in the States because my mother's side of the family lives in Rhode Island. My father's side of the family in Portugal, and of course all over the place. And so my son born in the States, so I there for a while. So I commute for a year between the States and Bermuda, and so I married a Bermudan man. I have 2 children with him, and then the relationship didn't work, so I went back to Portugal.
Okay, so where the fashion design come in now?
I
which country and which country?
was in Bermuda actually. I started the fashion in Bermuda because although I started to work in a friend of mine's studio. She's a fashion designer, and she had a studio where she did alterations for weddings and stuff. And they were coming up, and I was already doing designs in Kenya. Which I traveled to Kenya quite a bit, and I was doing some work in Kenya. Buy a lot of fabrics in Kenya.
You reach Kenya now.
Yes.
Where will it end? I look on this bird now, and I say AI, and I look on you and I say I'm model. You use a model?
No.
But when you design, you used to show your things them on the catwalk. Or,
yes, I started because I started anything to do with designs because when me and my husband separated and I went to England and I always had a passion for interiors more than fashion. So I decided to take an upholstery course and interiors, all that stuff, because I had the time. I was working full time, but at the same time, I wanted to do something that I loved.
Yeah, and designing was what you do.
Yes, exactly. So I was buying old furniture and restoring chairs and stuff like that, and I started to have this obsession with fabrics.
You sound like a cross between Ivan and Jackie. He's a cross because Jackie have an obsession with designs and fabrics and everything. And she left you go this and that 20 years, 10 and go back 5 years and at the same time.
I mean, Africa has some of the best fabrics. So for me, going there, and Kenya has beautiful fabrics.
Oh gosh, man, fabric them nice, man.
And some of my best friends are from Kenya, so I started to go there. I started the first time I went with my partner that I was living in Sweden. And then I just continued to go by myself to see my friends, and I started to buy fabric to do my upholstery. And then when I started the fashion in Bermuda, I decided to continue to do, I had seamsters and tailors in Kenya, and they did all the work for me.
Yeah. So you're done with that now, or you still do it?
Well, I actually did a fashion show in New Grill 3 weeks ago, and the theme was fashion.
So you never called Jackie to come down there?
I didn't know Jackie at that time. If I
you
knew
just
Jackie,
know her.
I just met her for the first time, thanks to Abba Zero.
But say, it's the weirdest thing, there's no more African cloth on the West Coast, except for Senegal.
Senegal, Mali.
Yeah, but
Nigeria.
the place where people used to go like Ghana and Nigeria, them not have no, it's Chinese and Holland print.
It's true.
On Kenya side, real African print there.
There is. It's a lot of Chinese.
Yeah, Chinese there, but
Kenya.
you can't find African print. In Ghana, you can't find African print.
You can't
We're
find it in
making
Ghana?
a Ghana.
In Kenya, you can. You
Yeah,
still
I know,
can.
yeah.
And I love the fabrics from Kenya. I buy quite a lot, and I have quite a few. And so far, they still, because they have the manufacturing fabrics there, so they actually do them in Kenya. So, but a lot of the shops in Kenya, they started to buy from the Chinese because it's cheaper to buy from China and Pakistan than from Kenya, because it's more expensive. So some of them are starting to buy from the Chinese. But you still can get really quality fabrics. And
in Kenya?
You still can.
Not in Ghana.
I didn't know that.
Pure, look here, I'm going to tell you something, it's weird, Did you know, you see the mat them, where the Muslim them spread out, and I think you see some about the house here, and pray upon in a Senegal, Gambian and place, made in China.
Wow.
The mat, the prayer mat them, where them spread out, and it's made in China. When me and Jackie go in our market and I buy a portion of them in a category there, when we turn them around, made in China, pure plastic. I says, what is? And all of them use to pray upon. So we don't know how China factor into that. But now we see the African print, the same fate there, where there's no African print in Ghana, apart from if you go to Kumasi and they say the Kente cloth them. And if the Kente cloth them, the Chinese them twist it around now and say it's a Kente print.
Exactly, but you can see the difference.
Yeah.
The type of fabric.
Because the Asante, them weave it with them hand. Them have them weaving with them hand. The Chinese, them just usurp it now and just make it a print.
Yeah,
and
they
everybody
just
wear it as
exactly.
African print.
Exactly.
It's weird. So, all right, so when you say that Jamaica now?
Yes.
Are
My
you
kids have
visiting?
been, no, I come and go, but now I...
Where you come and go to? So I have to ask you that now. I have to ask you that where you come and go to.
Well, I go to England, and I go to Portugal, of course.
And you come back to Jamaica?
And I come back to Jamaica.
So like how much time a year you come to Jamaica? How much time a year you come to Jamaica?
Well, I stay as long as I want to, because my children are here, so...
Oh, yeah?
Yes, they've been studying here for 5 years, so...
Where them studying?
Mobe and Herbert Morrison.
Okay, all right. We have to go find some work for you, man.
Well, I am going to spend more time here now.
Yeah, we have to go find some work for you. A share time? Yes.
Reggae radio station, rocking to the nation. The time on IRI FM is...
Yeah, time is 1 minute past 1 o'clock, and you're on the cutting edge with the attack to all of the 5 ones we attacked inside there, believe you me. And so far it has been very interesting. I must say, it's the first ever 5 people in our studio one time I talked to. And the little time I talked to them, it's very interesting. From the Miss World round, so we travel the whole Japan and this to the next Miss World again. Where she's supposed to win, man. She every time I set up to her, say, well, I was in England. Yes, I was in France. Yes, I was in Bermuda. I said, weird. It's not kind of... It's Miss Universe. Yeah, Miss World.
Actually, when my family calls me or when my friend calls me, the first thing they say, what are you now?
Yeah,
which country are you now? We can't keep up with you.
If you go out there, man, no, but if you look at a Jamaican and say you come from Portugal, you must say, lie or tell.
Nobody can tell if I come from Portugal.
But if you tell them that, they must say, lie or tell. A normal Jamaican, Portugal, you're white. Because that's the perception, They're going to see 2 black people could have left and go somewhere go have picnic in a white man country like England. When 2 Jamaicans left Jamaica and go England. And them say them are British, but them not white. So we have a way to sneak up on them. We sneak up on them so much now that we are go cross over the track and bring one of them picnic over the side of the track. And they can't even figure it out. Yeah, man, we give thanks,
True.
We give thanks to meet you, give thanks to see you. And
thank you.
Yeah, man, we hope say you get a wider perception of Jamaica, even coming to town. Right? You come to town regular, right?
This is my kind of first time in Kingston. I've been to Kingston before, but it was just passing through. I don't know Kingston till what Abazira has introduced me.
Eh?
Yes.
What is about Abazira?
Abazira basically is the first person. I've
come to Kingston?
Yes. I've been here, but it was just pass through. It was just to pick up
that's
something.
Not right, man. That's not right. Ivan never moved here now. It's the first time you meet Ivan?
It's the first time I meet Ivan. It's the first time I meet everybody in this room.
Well, the 2 of them will connect now.
Yes, definitely.
She have a big house.
I'm just going to go and crush at our house.
She have a big house in Montego Bay, trust me.
So, I cannot go to another country, I just go to Boston.
And if you come to town...
And she have a big one, too.
Oh.
She have a bigger one.
She have a bigger one? You know for her house?
Oh, she has... No, this one, there nobody in Montego Bay have a house as big as her.
Well, it's not my house.
Really? How about that one? Mr. Fair house bigger than you, I said she have a bigger one. Yeah, man. But you know Fair house,
I can tell you this.
But she say I know Fair house. She say I know Fair house.
She's being modest.
No, she not be no modest, man. She not tell me no lie. Sister, you don't have no house at Kingston. Anytime you come to Kingston, you understand?
Okay.
Yes,
thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you.
All right? And I know Sir Jackie are good at listen and she will say yes.
You scared that me and Jackie are already planning which country you're going to go next?
We're not planning this. It's a cool one. It's going to go on a music because this brother here, at 20 years, will come over here and the post. And the post, we are going to talk. So we are going on a music. And then this white brother with the camera across the road, so no. Look like you walk up, take over the thing. Anyway, give thanks, Sister.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Thanks, really give thanks, man. Nice to meet you, and it's the first I meet a sister from Portugal who is black.
Really?
Yes. Last night, at the party, I meet some people from Europe there that, why them Europeans, they always tall, Rasta, them woman there. Them tall, That means to wait. Yeah. Some of them just come from the airport. I never invite them there, but yeah, me never invite them, but them bring somebody who we invite. Somebody bring them who we invite. It was nice. Yeah, man, give thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, cut about living in a polarized state, and it's true. Yeah, them call what them call it, state of emergency. Well, last night, them call it state of emergency for 14 days. But now I take the people them off of the road. Neither the police, nor the thief are come off of the road. And the murderer still have plan to kill people, just like that. And whole heap of dance and party about the place. And that now go stop. They have to find a different way to do it. Okay, we are talking about zero. Blessed man. Why you look like a cold virgin?
One perfect love moving to Mutabaruka.
You cold?
A little chilly, yeah.
Okay. A little chilly, yes. Yeah, thank you, Shane, thank you. All right, so a long time I come to Jamaica. I mean, when the last time you come?
September 10th, 2019.
19. Oh, that was before the COVID.
Yes.
Okay. And you go other places though? Because one time I you say Israel.
We go to Israel.
Okay. Yeah. So where you long are Israel?
We just go to Israel for the love of being
in Israel.
In Israel, and the love of the Jewish tradition.
The love of the Jewish tradition.
Culture.
Okay. So what is the Jewish culture where you love long? Tell me.
Just the spirit of Jewish people in Israel, Ethiopia.
No, explain to me. Explain to me. The Jewish people in Israel. What's the difference between the Jewish people in Israel and the Jewish people in Manhattan?
The Jewish people in Manhattan, or wherever you are as a Jewish person, Israel, there's a certain connection for Jewish people. Maybe not for certain liberal Jews, but for Jews who are like from a different place.
But the Jews them in Israel, it's the same party Jew them all the Palestinian them land. So what is it that you find interesting in them culture? Well, because as far as I see, apart from the thieving culture them have, but the Jews them really have a party system going amongst the Palestinians.
Well, when we speak of Israel, we're not speaking of Israel just from one context. So the politics of Israel is one thing, but there's so many other aspects of Israel. It's not all Israeli that represents oppression for Palestinians. The government of Israel, there might be forces that perpetuate certain element of dysfunction, disunity, but Israel and the vastness of Israel wouldn't just be limited to the statement that you just made.
But the Israel, but it's not for them land. I mean, whether or not them some Jews represent something else other than what me I say. The people them are upon the land and always say them is Jews. Israel is not for them land.
Well, if you want for me to be in the context of politics of
no, then no politics we are working with. So you don't talk politics. You don't want to get involved in a Jewish politics.
No, the way you sound, it would, for me, it wouldn't be my observation of Israel.
No, all right, wait, hold on. We're not talking about observation, we're talking about history. We're not talking about the observation. Because in 1948, I never born. So I say, the occupation of that piece of land is an occupation given to them by the British. The people who live in Israel right now, we call themselves Jews. Most of them is Russian and German ancestry. And I have said to you now, say, it's very difficult for a black man, say, him no one involved in the Jewish politics. When we can see with our own eyes the repercussions of them occupying that land. All right, we'll come forward. Yes, we're there with you. Half year. You know, so I want to talk about that. I want to talk about it. I can't let it go that way there. Tell me what you really are telling me about the Israeli them. What you really ask about the Israeli them.
What I'm saying to you is this, Mutabaruka, non-apologetic.
Mm-hmm.
There's oppression that has been perpetuated on the planet by many different forces. You live in Jamaica, and it's an oppressive political structure, system, but you are here.
But you don't say no one get into the politics of Israel.
So let
you know
us not
talk
talk about Israel.
Like it's a part of the government
so
down there.
let us not talk about Israel then, because...
But that Israel me that talk about.
If we're speaking of,
you look like you spend a whole part of time down at Israel.
If we're speaking of Israel, I am saying to you, with the oppressive force that exists in the politics of Israel, which I know that there is discrimination against Palestinians, I am saying to you, I am also experiencing something in Israel with Israeli from another perspective.
But I can go to England and feel comfortable in England too.
Yes, you can.
So what that mean?
And
so
I'm
what that
saying
mean?
to you, when you go to England and you know that there is oppressive forces in England, but also if you are not able to experience England from the space of speaking truth to power and yet understanding...
Then who not speak truth to power when I'm there in England? Me not change my voice when I'm there in England.
No, it's not a matter of changing...
When I go to Israel, me not change my voice.
It's not a matter of changing your voice, Muta. It's a matter of me saying to you, you have black people born and raised in England under the monarchy of Great Britain and have experienced a lot of oppression...
Yes.
And still maintain even aspect of admiration for England.
Of course.
Okay.
I will pop that people that. So what? So what that
you,
mean?
What I'm saying to you is this. I am not one in the politics of Israel to make it sound as if Israel as a country and the politics of Israel, that it is just built on oppression.
But it is built upon oppression.
I am saying to
you... The Prime Minister right now is one of the most oppressive Prime Minister in the world.
Okay, you can speak of Netanyahu.
They're not even the president.
I am
saying the Prime Minister.
to you can speak of...
And the one before him too.
What we're not going to do now is this. Netanyahu has issues. Okay, and destructive issues. I am just saying this to you. Netanyahu has issues and destructive issues, okay? But I'm saying to you, Mutabaruka, non-apologetically, the destructive force of Israel at this given juncture of Israel, the best that we can do in speaking is to say this. Israel cannot be judged just from Netanyahu.
No, but when I judge,
what are the government of Israel?
What are Netanyahu me judge him for? It's the politics of Israel me judge, and not Netanyahu.
The policy.
The policy of Israel is a party against the Palestinians.
Okay, Mutabaruka. With that said, I will look at you and I'll say this to you. I do not call Israel an apartheid state.
Yeah, but you're not going to call it because now you're take up for them. You're take up for them, brethren.
Okay.
Well, you're free to talk against it. You're free to talk against it because you go Israel all the while.
Well, look,
you're free to talk against it.
Look, Muta. For me, I'm looking at you now and I'm saying this. I would rather us speak from the perspective of how did Israel come to be that a group of people from Russia, the Ukraine, or Europe holds the influence that they hold.
Because Britain give them it. 1948, Britain give them that power.
Why did Britain?
No, it don't matter why Britain give them it. Britain is a colonial state who go around the place and rob and thief and murder everybody.
Okay.
Simple.
Okay.
So Britain give them that power. And now them are the same thing with them say Hitler to them are do the Palestinian them. Because them complain say Hitler killed 6 million people and I accept say England killed 6 million of them. But you turn around after you go through all of that other cars. And then now you have played that game for a net set of people. And then you sit on this one and I tell you,
Let
say
me
you know,
ask you
see nothing wrong with them
something, Muta.
politics.
Let me ask you something,
How about
Muta.
you, where we are dealing with
No,
Rasta?
I'm looking at you right now, and I want us to look face to face.
No, but you want
before
to
we go in
know, no, you want to know, face to face, me I look on you,
No,
but you say,
and
me I try to figure out, oh, you're gone, now we're there.
So here, where I am with what you're saying, okay?
Yeah.
Now,
Me hear what you're saying, how
no,
about you?
but Mutabaruka, I'm not going to allow you
Yes.
to make it sound as if the politics of Israel.
You say you don't want to deal with the politics of Israel.
No,
You don't
I am
want to deal
saying,
with
but
it.
that's where you.
What that you say?
This is where you are agitating,
Yeah.
and because you're doing this, I am sitting here saying to you, non-apologetically,
No, the
I
politics what?
stand,
What you're not
I
apologizing for?
stand for Israel.
Yeah, but
And
me
what
hear
I
what you
stand-
say.
And what I stand for of Israel,
Yeah.
I am saying this to you. It's not the injustice that I am just...
All right, tell me where you stand for Israel. Where you stand for Israel.
That
'Cause I don't know how you can get out the politics out of Israel,
No,
so tell me
it's
where you
not
stand for.
getting the politics.
If you look
out
at the
of
Bible, Israel in Egypt is a politics.
It's not getting the politics out of Israel. It's just saying to you, Mutabaruka.
So you don't want to deal with that aspect of
No,
it?
this is not what I'm saying.
All right,
I
tell me
am
what you're
saying
saying.
clearly to you
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
okay? The land of Israel,
Yes.
Palestine, you just expressed was given to the Zionists by America, and you
No,
said
I never
you
mentioned
said
America,
Britain,
you know.
you said
Britain said.
England, you said England, but we do know that history have proven
Yeah, that America is involved in it,
and
yes.
England
Yes,
is
yes.
involved in the
Yes.
Balfour Declaration
Yes.
that Great Britain wanted to step out of Palestine,
Yeah.
Israel, and whatever bargain made with the Ottoman Empire that the British should go in. And I am saying to you, when the British got there, you cannot tell me that there were not European Jews that lived there.
Before
Before
say no European
1948.
Jews. You me say I know European Jews live there?
Huh? You said it was Palestinians' land.
No, listen to me now. I'm saying no. The land that is now called Israel is occupied a set of people near Russians and thing, and them is running the people them who them go they go see half of the land where it's not for them own. No, I can't say I know the Palestinian land too, you know. But the main fact is that them go they go see the Palestinians them and now them are develop a party system against the Palestinian. Whether they're Palestinian them is Jamaican or Chinese. Them did go they go see the Palestinians them. And now these people who come from a next set of place, because them feel say them control the whole place, them going now to go develop a apartheid system against the Palestinians. So I can't go say, I now deal with the politics. I is a black person and I know what that in
What
South
does
Africa.
black
It's the same
person,
people.
when you say a black person,
Me,
Mutabaruka,
African. I mean, the African, I mean, see them doing it in South Africa.
You black Mutabaruka as an African, are you looking at me and telling me that Israel for black people
Israel
doesn't have
is not
any
black
foundation?
Black people don't have no power in Israel.
Mutabaruka.
Black people don't have the
Mutabaruka.
politics. The government of
Mutabaruka.
the
Black
government
people-
of Israel is not consist.
Mutabaruka.
Yes, sir.
Black people,
Yeah.
in the language of black people.
African me I
I
talk
would
about.
love for you to
African
know
me I
this.
talk about.
I am saying African just the same.
Yeah,
Muta.
yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I am saying this to you.
Yeah.
If we should go right now to Nigeria, Kenya, Ethiopia, and you're showing me real power that black people hold in the politics.
Why you bring them country there? We're not talking about them country there.
No, but I am speaking of power,
And
Muta.
200
You
million
just
people
said
there in
power,
Nigeria.
Muta.
The
You said
president of
power.
Nigeria is a black man.
Mutabaruka, it being a country that has a black leader doesn't necessarily speak to me.
Which place Nigeria are run in our party system? Which country
When you
Nigeria
say
have as a party
Nigeria
country?
running a country in a party
But I
system,
talk
that's
about
not my
Israel
emphasis.
running a country that is developing a party against the next group of people. Just like how them go down to South Africa and run a system against black people name a party. Is the same system I run Israel against the
Let me ask you
Palestinians?
something. In the language of apartheid in South Africa,
Watch that. You say you're not dealing with politics, you know. You say you're not dealing with politics. All right, in South Africa,
okay?
yeah.
The politics of South Africa.
Yes.
That Nelson Mandela was in prison for how many years?
Nelson Mandela is an idiot. Nelson Mandela is a big idiot.
Okay. And then now Mutabaruka, from Nelson Mandela to where we are today in South Africa.
Yeah.
Where we are today, Muta.
Yes.
Are you looking at me and telling me that there's been something better or stronger than Nelson Mandela?
No, I said the system, even though it's not where it reached, is better than where it was.
Okay, Mutabaruka.
And our
this
party.
is what I'm going to say.
Because the black people, they fight to get to that party.
This is what I'm going to say to you.
So
now.
you have to fight to get to that party in Israel against the Palestinians.
This is what I'm going to say to you. If that can happen in South Africa, Israel also is improving.
Improving where?
In the language of what you just
improving where? Improving where? Last week
they killed.
Last week, you know how much Israel, you know what Palestinians did? Last week.
Yes, Muta.
So we have to get it better, where?
Listen, Muta, listen. You can't sit here and speak of Israel from the place of what you hear on the news.
Oh, so they never kill them. The Palestinians never drop bomb and kill them.
Guess what?
I mean, not Palestinians, the Israelis.
Soldiers do kill Palestinians.
Soldiers, and some picnic them kill.
Yes, Muta.
That's what that means. So that
happened.
Okay, Israel killed some Palestinians picnic, so we could forget about that.
But now, Muta.
We could forget about that.
I'm
the man switch for me, Bridget. No, I'm telling the truth. You switch us.
I couldn't say that.
No,
you know why I couldn't say that?
Israel too
you know
much,
why I couldn't say that?
You got Israel too
you know
much.
why I couldn't say that? You know what? No,
the time's so done.
Why I couldn't say that is because I'm concerned.
I just bring it up because you say you go
I am concerned about death.
I am concerned about you
and I'm concerned
switching.
About life.
I am concerned that you switching for me. You switch for me, brethren.
Well,
you're my personal brethren, I tell you that.
Well, you cannot not
love
be
you more than
my
Jesus love little children.
And you,
but you switch for me.
No, but you cannot not be my...
No, I tell you,
you are my
brethren.
personal brethren.
You understand? And when me hear your talk now, I say, wait. A good man go up, Israel go switch and turn for me, Israeli, you're black Israeli.
Well, look now, Muta.
I love you so much, brother. I love you, know.
Well, I
love you very much.
I love you and the way
but how you
love
talk
you,
to me now is like...
The way Israeli love you...
What is?
Look, Muta, you've been to Israel. And the people...
What is?
The way they care about you... Rasta is in Israel.
What if a Rasta they are Israel?
And guess
Rasta they everywhere.
Rasta they are... But Muta, I'm just saying this to you, non-apologetically, my brother. The love... that Jews have for Rasta and the love that Jews have
Rasta
for
claim
black
but people. Yeah, because Rasta them claim Jewish.
Here and make it feel
the
as
Rasta
if,
them say them is Israel.
Well, guess what?
And the people them in Israel is not Israelite.
Well, guess what?
Them are Israeli. Them are not Israelite. Them never in no Bible.
Well, guess what, Muta?
Them people they never in no Bible.
Well, guess what, Muta? I am saying this to you. I know who King Emmanuel is.
Oh, King Emmanuel, what you talking about?
Hey, Muta, you can't do this. I know who King Emmanuel
come up with.
I know who King I know who King Emmanuel is.
So who's King Emmanuel?
And let me tell you something, Mutabaruka.
Yeah.
If you took 9 Mile Bull Bay under the order of King Emmanuel, even in its polluted state today, and sit it in Israel for 7 days.
Yeah, because they're following the Jewish tradition.
Hold on, Muta. No, I'm just saying this to you. I'm saying this to you. If you do that with the Bobo Hill or Dermot Fabian, I forgot the name of his movement, if you took that in Israel, I am telling you, the people that you're criticizing right now as Israeli, they would look at these people.
So them are not Israeli? Them are not Israeli? The people them when me are criticized?
The people that you're criticizing,
it's not Israeli.
You're asking me if they're not Israeli?
No, if I ask if them is Israeli.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, them is Israelite from in the Bible. Are them same people there?
I can't say that, Muta.
Eh?
I can't say that, Muta.
No, I never say
I cannot look at you and say to you that the Russians, the French, the Germans,
no matter what the
Israeli.
People them in Israel now, were they coming from Egypt out of Israel, out of bondage?
Mutabaruka, let me just say this boldly to you again. This is what I admire the most. What I admire the most is that there's a people that you can ask me this question. Are they the real people that the Bible speaks?
No, me answer me, no, brethren.
I don't know, Mutabaruka.
You don't know. Well,
I was not physically there.
Well, me I tell you, say them is not.
Okay, and then
you not show me, say them is.
And then you tell me.
There was no Israelite in no Egypt and no slave, none.
And you tell me the real Israelite,
which is Israelite,
wherever they are. Tell me who are the real one.
Israelite is not a race of people, you know.
Okay, Musa.
It's a nation.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So when me I say to you now, I know me bring up the Israelite thing, but I tell you, say, when you mention about Bobo, and drop them in Israel, you know, it will come like
there
them.
There
would
be a mark of distinction.
Yeah, but me I say to you now, say, none of them Bobo man, they don't know the rituals of the Israelite, and what them are deal with in Israel.
I am saying this to you. I know it.
No, you know.
The informative information presented in this video is motivational and is positively aimed at inspiring, educating and entertaining the viewers with the cutting edge of critical reasoning. If you enjoy the contents on the Black Radar YouTube channel, please consider subscribing to show your support.